Hi everyone, welcome again to Chaiwala Show. And in this opportunity, we have a special guest. His name is Tom. Hi Tom, how are
Hey
you?
Nelson, how's it going?
I'm doing good, how are you?
Good, great actually. I'm happy to be here. I was kind of thinking about coming onto a podcast which I haven't done in a while, and of course, the things that I was going to talk about and not talk about, and I had this conversation about
Nah, come on.
what to talk about.
And this is an open space, we can talk about anything. The spirit of chai, actually.
I know, I was really hoping for some tea.
All right. Yeah, I promise. Real. You know we are opening a new place, right?
Oh no, I've heard that you guys are launching the tea culture in KW,
Yeah.
and I'm actually super excited about that because coffee is kind of done,
Yeah.
and it's been done. There's nothing really unique about coffee. But tea will be something worth exploring because there's so much variety when it comes to tea.
Yeah, exactly. And now that you mention it, tell us a little bit what is your business? What are you searching in life?
Kind of a loaded question.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I started High-Tech Soft 5 years ago as a software development company
Nice.
because it was something that I've been doing my entire life. But I very quickly realized that software development nowadays is really not something that happens a lot because we have a product for everything nowadays.
Yeah.
So nowadays it's mostly customization or enhancements of existing softwares. Not the most terribly exciting thing, and I wanted to do something fun and exciting, something that inspires me. And for the first couple of years I got into IoT, Internet of Things, because that was something that I was very interested in at the time. But it didn't take very long to realize that IoT was an extremely mature and crowded space, and it's not something that I was going to have really see good results, So I was kind of searching of what I wanted to do after, and of course ChatGPT made a splash, and that was it. That was the thing I was looking for. And having grown up watching all these Star Trek movies and all the AI movies and Terminator and whatnot, I very quickly realized that AI was the thing.
Right.
It was going to be the thing that was going to change the world, right? And sure enough, I mean, it is the fourth industrial revolution, and we have seen that change. And when that happened, I wanted to position High-Tech Soft as the leader in AI, specifically for business, bringing AI to small and medium-sized businesses, family-run businesses, because in my career as a consultant, I actually found that I found working for family-owned businesses the most fulfilling, personally, because it was my chance to make a real impact. I've worked for a lot of very large corporations, and you just kind of feel like you're just a cog in a big machine, right? And I never really had a chance to use the full potential of my abilities. And for small and medium-sized businesses, that gives me a chance to use all of my skills, all of my knowledge, all of my experience, because essentially I'm bringing enterprise-level knowledge and tools to small businesses, and I've been doing it ever since. And of course, using AI to help us stay ahead and really bring meaningful change to small businesses.
Good. Tell us a little bit, how is the business going? I mean, we know that AI is at present, and how people is actually looking into. So how do you see this scenario for your business in the short term?
It's interesting because, we've been doing this since ChatGPT 3 dropped.
Yeah.
And my perception was, the moment I saw it and the moment I realized what it's capable of in terms of helping small businesses. But for the first year, there was almost no interest in it. It was nothing more than a curiosity. I'm sure it made the news every now and then about, ChatGPT did that and ChatGPT did this. Some competition in that space with, Google is trying to now playing catch up with OpenAI, but the phone never rang. You know, a lot of people had a lot of questions, you know, but in during networking events, but it was nothing more than a curiosity. And I actually came to the I was frustrated because you know, from my perspective, it's like, why is nobody adopting AI? Are you people crazy?
Yeah.
You know, you what are you waiting for, right? And I was actually came very close to like shutting it all down because I thought people were just never gonna adopt AI.
Yeah.
And up until about, I would say, I think it was like October of last year, you know, I had no idea how long before people will start adopting it. And as of about October, the phone has been ringing nonstop.
Oh, really?
Yeah, people, it's no longer a curiosity. People have now tried AI. They've seen the results that it brings, they've seen the productivity gains, the intelligence that it brings, and everybody wants a piece of that action. And it's become more than just a conversation of what it could do, is what can it do for my business.
Right. How do you think this industry is going to impact on technology, resources, economy?
That's a very, very, very broad topic. And of course, I mean, you know, we talk about like peering into the future and trying to predict it. It's pretty outlandish.
Okay.
You know, because for the first time in the history of humankind, we have a tool that's smarter than a human.
Yeah.
In fact, it is so smart, so intelligent nowadays that we can't even measure it anymore, how smart it is. It's blown all the benchmarks out of the water. Right? We're essentially trying to measure something that's smarter than us, and we have no idea how to wrap our head around it. Right? We just don't have that. So if you think about it, over time, in a long enough space, once people adopt AI and lose the apprehension about it, AI will replace all labor, all of it. Whether it's through robotics or anything that is a desk job, all of it. Because based on its intelligence, based on its effectiveness and speed, and the low cost of it, there is no service that you can provide to me that will be better, faster, or cheaper, which ultimately businesses rely on in order to outcompete other businesses in their space. So the whole concept of money eventually will disappear. It's inevitable. Because there is nothing that you can pay me for that I'll be able to provide for you that AI will be able to do better.
Right.
Right? Now, the cost of that are still tremendous, right? They're with billions and billions of dollars to run, right? But there is also a lot of development in the open source community that allows us to run AI models, much smaller ones, granted, and not quite as intelligent, on local desktops. Right? Consumer off-the-shelf hardware is good enough that you can now run your own private AI. So you no longer really have to rely on the foundational models like OpenAI or Google or Anthropic. And over time, as hardware becomes cheaper, hardware becomes more powerful and easier to acquire, because right now the demand makes it very almost impossible to buy this kind of hardware. The moat that OpenAI has, and compared to what we have as far as the open source community, is shrinking very, very fast. I think ultimately people will have their own private AIs. People have trust issues for big corporations, you know, and we've already seen some leaked prompts for OpenAI for ChatGPT about how ChatGPT is instructed to respond based on topics or based on what the queries could be, right, to steer the conversation a certain way. I don't want that from my own AI. I want to be able to trust my AI implicitly, right? Not the person that trains that AI. And ultimately, in order to trust AI, it has to be my own AI or your own AI or anybody's AI.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it will absolutely advocate on your behalf and nobody else's, right? And that will most likely put the big guys out of business.
How is that makes you feel passionate about this industry? Because I can sense it. I can feel What is it that makes you feel like that?
Because I think ultimately it leads to a utopian society.
Right.
I think ultimately, money and the need to survive, the need to pay the bills and have a roof over your head makes people do a lot of unethical things. People can cross lines, when they need to survive, right? And when that is no longer necessary, then people can focus on the things that they want to focus on. If that means exploring their creativity or being able to do something with their life that they find truly fulfilling, that seems like a pretty good place to be in. The transition, it will be difficult, for sure. That's why, there's obviously a lot of discussion about things like UBI, the universal basic income, right? Everybody is guaranteed to be able to at least pay the bills, because that transition, as the jobs are being displaced by AI, will be fast and furious. AI will start replacing mid-tier engineers.
Really?
So last year it was entry-level engineers. Now they're talking about replacing mid-tier engineers. That's a lot of people that are incredibly talented in what they do that will no longer be able to find a job, because there's no company in the world that will hire them, because AI can do it for pennies on the dollar. What are these people supposed to do with for a living?
How would you approach to these people? For example, if you have to give an advice or just a tip about the complexity or all the goods that you can get from AI, how would you approach to these people and say, hey, don't be afraid, AI is not like that?
I think in order to really have a peace of mind when it comes to AI, you have to understand AI.
Yeah.
Understand how it works and understand what makes it tick. Because once you understand what makes it tick, it makes it much easier to understand what it is capable of or what it is not capable of. Ultimately, large language models are just very advanced autocomplete engines. It's an algorithm, but it's an algorithm that trained on data, and depending how you train the AI, obviously you will respond differently, right? And how you prompt it will respond differently, right? Learn how to wield it. Become a master in AI. During that transition period, the job that will be in demand the most is people who understand AI and know how to utilize it to its full potential, because again, AI is a tool. Right now, if you're finishing school and you have no experience in AI, you're not employable.
Yeah.
Right? Either become an expert in AI on your own time, or go back to school and become an expert in AI. Because during the short term, that's the biggest demand that we're going to see. It's people who simply know how to wield it.
Right, Tom.
It's going to be an interesting one, because a lot of it has to do with culture and acceptance. AI can possibly do everything for us, but if we don't accept that as a culture, as society, what good is it? And I think it's going to take like a generation. I think I'm about a generation before that transition is complete, because we've all grown up to those, Skynet movies and whatnot. But the kids that are born into the world today, they are born into a world where AI exists already. It's a thing. It's a fact of life. To them, it's not something foreign, or it isn't something to be feared, because it's always been there as far back as they remember. So to them, it's natural. So they're more likely to embrace it than we are. I have kids.
Yeah.
I know what kind of world awaits them. At least I have an idea. I'm projecting, obviously, and I spend a lot of time thinking about it, but the problem with trying to predict the future is most predictions are wrong. And I accept the fact that I could be wrong. How things will evolve and how the adoption of AI is going to actually proceed and happen in the world, I have no idea.
But the thing is that if you can reflect on it, you are 40s, right? So you've been transitioning from different technologies, right? Analog, digital, smartphones, and this. Every single transition into these new technologies took too long. I mean, for the first one, right? The smartphone was just everywhere at some point.
Yeah, sure.
It wasn't that long. This should be the same, I believe.
True. That's one way. That's a good way of looking at it. The problem is that it's always been an accelerating curve.
Right.
We've gone from a slight acceleration to, that hockey stick growth, because we're using AI to build AI. So it has become an exponential improvement.
Exactly.
Right? And because of the fact that we've more or less been exposed to AI for the last decade, you're talking about Siri, you're talking about Google Assistant, it's a form of AI. The algorithms for social media, the machine learning, that's been around for a very, very long time. So it isn't really anything all that new. It's just that the new capabilities that have been added to AI are new. But because we've been so resilient and so adaptive when it comes to this technology, aside from that preconception of what we've seen in the movies, that's really the only thing that's holding us back from fully embracing AI, because there is that thing of a little bit of apprehension because the what if, right? But the moment you realize that the what if is really nothing to worry about, right? Because those scenarios that we think will happen will probably never happen, right? It's kind of like a leap of faith, I guess you want to.
Yeah, that's right. So is there anything that you would like to add, or maybe some advice to people who are actually still reluctant to get into the AI technology?
In the history of humanity, we always feared what we didn't understand.
Yeah.
And that's always been the case. So if AI scares you, understand it. Take the time to understand it. Take the time to read up on it. Try it. Use it. Because when you use it, you start to realize that the benefits greatly outweigh the risks. And it's one of the reasons why companies like Microsoft, and through that partnership with OpenAI, pushing towards the development. Because those benefits are unlike anything that we've ever seen. Right? Again, pennies on the dollar. The performance, the intelligence is something that will not be able to replace with anything better. The genie is out of the bottle, right? So and we can't put it back in. So do whatever you need to do to get comfortable with that idea. It is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. And it will become more and more part of our lives from the moment we wake up to the moment we go to sleep, and probably even while we're sleeping, because I've already seen prototypes for AIs that can read your mind while you sleep and try to reproduce your dreams from your brain activity.
Yeah.
Right. So it's kind of cool thing to I don't know if I want to start watching the dreams that I'm having, but but that's something that has never been possible before.
Right.
Ultimately everything leads to singularity, I believe it's called. And it's the idea that once AI reaches that super intelligence, it will be the last invention humans will ever make. Because once we have that super intelligence, we'll just simply ask the AI to invent stuff for us.
Yeah.
We never have to put in the work anymore, because AI can do it so much faster.
Okay. Thank you, Tom. It's been an interesting conversation we had.
This is definitely a very interesting topic, and love talking about it.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Have a good one, guys. See ya.